Live. We're live. It's working. It's like I'm always shocked when this actually happens, even though it's what I do every day. Hi, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. And joining me in just a few moments, it's the Kelly Cutrara Show on AM640 with Terry Hart, who's hosting the show while Kelly is doing other things. But if you hang out for just a moment, in about 1 minute, I just got the 1 minute notice. We're going to be talking about stuff and things with Terry. And I'll give you a chance to settle and get comfortable because I'm sure it's going to be an interesting one. We're going to talk about vehicle stops. You know, what happens when you get pulled over? What should you do? I do a little dance for you to kill time until we're ready to be live, but I don't actually do that. It's kind of in my contract. I do a whole thing called no dancing required because that's I don't do it. Oh, the chat is ready. Big Jeff Fresh. Yes, we missed you this morning too. Hello. JJ says, give license and insurance. Hey, Tracy, how you doing? JJ, technically you're the second because JC beat you. Before we moved into the studio, I had a refrigerator.
All right, I don't have a parking ticket in my hand or a traffic ticket in my hand, but I came darn close. I've had a few parking tickets over the years. I'm very happy for that new mobile Green P parking app that we have in the city of Toronto. But I haven't been pulled over in decades. I couldn't even tell you the last time. And I was pulled over this morning driving to work. I was coming south on Bathurst Street, which is for anybody who doesn't know, it's a very major and busy street. And I was on the curb lane, and beside me to the left was a streetcar. And admittedly, I get a little bit nervous around streetcars because the doors open and you can't drive beside it because passengers are coming off of the streetcar. And I'm very aware of that, and I get nervous. So the streetcar was going through a light. I was paying attention to the streetcar, and the light changed from amber to red. And I was just kind of more paying attention to the streetcar and went through the light, which it seems was red. Anyway, the lights and the sirens behind me. And I thought to the streetcar was still beside me. I didn't know how to pull over. I was nervous already. I thought, oh my goodness, what's happening? Was I supposed to stop? I thought initially that I had done something wrong around the streetcar. Anyway, I pull over, I put my four ways on, and the police officer walks up to my car and she says, traffic light. And I was confused. I didn't know what to do. And I was immediately shaking. Like I was shaking. I was nervous. I felt like, what's going to happen? Am I going to get a ticket for something? How much is a ticket these days? I had no idea. I had no point of reference. And I felt like a child. I felt like a very young child who just was caught doing something wrong. Shout out to my husband for keeping the insurance and the registration up to date. I looked in the glove compartment. Thank goodness it was there. Anyway, she was very understanding, and I had to ask her why I was pulled over, and she said the traffic light, and I said, I'm just so nervous around streetcars. Anyway, I shouldn't have gone through the light. My fault. She was very understanding. I didn't get a ticket, but oh my goodness, was I ever nervous? I immediately texted Chris Creston, our producer here, and said, crazy event. I was pulled over. I was freaking out. I'm so nervous. And he said, I got the person to talk to, Sean Shapiro, the TikTok traffic cop. Sean.
It's me.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
What do you think of that story? Is my reaction normal?
You know what? I'll tell you, even if lights go on behind me, I get nervous because it's a natural reaction for honest people to try and figure out why them. Why are you being chosen at this time? And that's very natural. So don't feel bad about being nervous. It's normal. If you weren't nervous, I'd be more concerned.
Yeah, well, I was certainly very nervous, and then I was like, I really hope that everything is up to date. And where is that darn registration? Is my insurance in the glove compartment again? Because it's been years since I've been pulled over. So, I didn't really know how to behave. I mean, is there a right way? Is there a wrong way? Break it down for me.
Here's the thing. If I'm stopping you, If you're nervous, it's normal. If you're there with all your information, if you can't find your information easily, it's normal. But the right thing to do is simply be polite, and that you did without an issue. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten a warning. The deal is that you need to have your license, ownership, and insurance. You need to surrender that, and it has to all be valid. So
Okay.
if you've got that stuff, you're already ahead of the races. Your driver's license has to be the actual card. Photos don't work. Your ownership can be a photocopy or the original. The ownership has to be, or at least a copy of the ownership has to be both sides, a true copy. And your insurance slip can be the pink slip that you get in the mail, or it can be an electronic version provided by your insurance provider, as long as it's through an app, not a picture of it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so there are some options out there that I was unaware of. So you actually have to physically have your driver's license on you. It can't be a photograph.
Exactly. And that's because there's some security issues. The card has things on the back that we need to see. There's even RFID and things inside the card. So the actual original is what's required. And if you have multiples, if you got a new address and you change things, it has to be the most recent one. The other ones aren't valid. In fact, you shouldn't be carrying more than one. But that's the thing. And many people come out and they have photos and they're best of intentions and they're like, but please don't give me a ticket. It's a $110 ticket for not surrendering your actual license.
Holy cow. So yeah, I was again in my mind, I was like, wait a minute. How much does a ticket even cost? So $110 if you don't have your driver's license on you. If the police officer had given me a ticket for running that red light, what would that have cost me?
It would have been $325 and 3 demerit points on conviction.
Oh my goodness. Bye Taylor Swift tickets. If that was happening, that would have been terrible. I mean, would have been terrible for a lot of reasons. But how much and demerit points, this is how ignorant I am because it's been so long since I don't drive all that much anymore. I think a lot of people have cut down on their driving. And demerit points would impact my insurance then, right?
Actually, no. Convictions impact your insurance, and your insurance determines what they're going to do with the information. But a conviction is what they look at. The demerit points are a way of tracking, from the Ministry of Transportation perspective, when you need to lose your license, when you need to have a letter reminding you to be a good driver. It's so that we can basically keep tally. And once you hit a certain number, they're going to revoke your license after a suspension and so on.
So if this officer had pulled me over, she looks at my license and she realizes that I have other demerit points. She's like, no matter how polite you are, you just might be a terrible driver and I'm going to ding you again.
And that's really what it's for. If we keep giving people breaks and not recording their issues behind the wheel, then we're not doing and allowing the system to work the way it's supposed to work, which is to take bad drivers off the road. If someone is continuously getting tickets and driving unsafely, well, we want them to get demerit points and we want their license to be taken from them.
And truth be told, I want that also, right? Like I don't want to be on the road with bad drivers, but I do have and I was talking to Chris about this and I was like, oh my goodness, I just sound like a person that is making excuses for my bad driving. But I will say, driving beside a streetcar, there's an awful lot going on in that scenario.
For sure. And we understand that people get nervous in different scenarios, and those are the ones that if you acknowledge you have a problem with it, that create space. Don't put yourself in those situations.
All right. Okay. So you taught me something here. Demerit points don't affect my insurance, but they do impact any future interactions that I may have as a driver with any police officer. That's really important information. B, have to have your original copy of your driver's license, but you can have an app for your insurance.
Yes, as long as it's provided by the insurance provider. And I will tell you this, if you rely on that, it's a good backup. But if you rely on it and your battery dies and you can't provide it, you can still get a ticket at $65.
So $110 for not surrendering your license, $65 for not having your insurance present, whether it be in an app or the physical, and $325 for running a red light.
And if you don't have your ownership documentation, that's another $110. And it's funny how they tend to add up.
Yes, my goodness. I can do those maths in my head, and I'm really, really grateful to that police officer for recognizing that I was just doing my best. Just doing my best and made a little mistake.
I will tell you this: it's only 2 years that those demerit points stay on your license after the date of offense, and they only get applied after conviction. So if you pay your ticket, it'll go on to your license for 2 years, and then it'll come off. That's not a long-term experience.
Sean Shapiro, the TikTok traffic cop. Thank you so much. I can take a breath before I drive home and hopefully not get pulled over again. I'm back tomorrow, noon to 3, filling in for Kelly Cutrara. I'm Terry Hart, TERIHART, on all the socials that you are on.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean.
Anytime. Take care. So thank you for popping in. For those who joined us for that quick hit, it was just a single segment on AM640 Toronto. So if you caught it, well, you're special and you got that opportunity. If you're watching it pre-recorded, know that'll be back tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. doing Ask a Traffic Cop on all the social media channels. But if you're on TikTok, I got to go. Always a pleasure, though. I see there's some messages here. I'll hit a couple of quick questions, but I've got some people in the office that need to talk to me about other stuff and things. But here's the quick answers to the questions since you showed up, and that is a question of motorcycles in the HOV. In Ontario, on the 400 series highways, the HOV lane allows motorcycles as a solo operator. You don't need to have the minimum 2 persons to enter. And let's see here. What are the rules for street parking with a wheelchair pass? We call it an accessible permit, to be correct politically. And the answer is that you can park where there's no parking zones. You still have to, be within or not be within 9 meters of a intersection, but you do have the ability to park where it says no parking, and that's to give people who need the ability to get to where they're going and can't roll or have accessible issues to get where they have to go, and that's fantastic. But it is city to city, so your city may have different rules if you're not in the city of Toronto. What else can I tell you here? I see there's a bunch of questions popping in. And tints on the front windshield, not legal at all, chameleon or otherwise. You cannot tint your front windshield at all whatsoever. In fact, if your vehicle is 2017 or newer, you can't even have a tint strip, the brow on the top. Jason Davies says 3 meters. What did I say? Did I say 9 meters? I thought it was, apparently it's 3 meters. But I'm not a parking person. You're not going to get a ticket from me. Jason, are you a parking person? Maybe that's why you know stuff that I thought it was 9 meters. Anyway, maybe it's 9 feet. 3 meters. It's a 9 something. It was 3 meters, 9 feet. See, I knew there was something. 9 meters, I guess, would be really, really, really far. What is this? Officer, when should I not show my police ID when they stop me? What? What police ID are you talking about? You probably don't want to be stuffing police ID in anybody's face. That they may or may not. It may or may not make it better for you. Let's see here. Can I have 4 kids in the back with 2 adults on the front in a 5-seater car? If you have a 5-seater car, you can have 5 people in the vehicle. You can't put more people than you have seatbelts in your vehicle. That would be illegal. Question from Vehicle Valley. Do vehicle modification tickets have demerit points? It depends on, generally speaking, modifications don't. Like a muffler ticket does not have a demerit points. It's the driving ones that do. Maybe I was misunderstanding the question. Oh, okay. Now I understand that Jimmy Neutron didn't have police ID. He wants to know when. Okay. Let me back up because I totally misunderstood what I was reading. I thought they were saying they were a police person and they were making a joke. But the deal is that when you are pulled over by a police officer in the province of Ontario, you are obligated as a driver to surrender upon demand your driver's license, period. If you are in a vehicle and you are not the driver, unless you're being investigated for an offense under a provincial act or a criminal offense, then you are not required to identify yourself. But there's never an opportunity or a reason why you would not or should not identify yourself in a driver scenario. So thank you for the person who read correctly the question that I did not. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Is it illegal if some random person walking hit my car without reason and I pull over and come out? I don't understand your question. Is it illegal for someone to hit your car? That doesn't sound like something that's a good idea. Chase, what's going on? Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. I stuck around for a couple. Zombie, I see you. Hello. Regional TO, hello to you. Kayla Draconis, how you doing? Jason Davey wants to know why there's no enforcement on e-bikes and scooters. There is, but we focus on the big 4, which are speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. Those are always going to be the highest priority because they're the ones that lead to serious injury and death on our roads. They are a priority because they life. Now, e-bikes and e-kick scooters, I kid, they're very important as well. They're just not as high a priority, but we are going to have more and more enforcement on those. If I'm predicting things, I don't dictate it, but I predict it. We'll see how it goes. JVJ. Okay. I've got to go, but we will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's been a pleasure.